Another round of Formula One is coming up this weekend at Emilia-Romagna, and that's the first leg of the European start of things in as far as this season is concerned. And we're going to be chatting everything that has to do with Formula One coming up this weekend with Lufefe Mayekiso. He is a vlogger at Motorzar, and he's joining us today. Thank you so much, sir, for coming through. What do we expect this weekend?
Well, I think it's hard to predict, considering that in the last Grand Prix in Miami, we had a first-time race winner. As you can see, I'm wearing a McLaren cap, although it's not the race winner's cap.
Did you get it from him?
No. This is Oscar Piastri.
Okay.
Yes. So he's my second favorite driver, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So to me, it looks as though McLaren, they are making the most progress in terms of closing the gap to Red Bull. So I expect them to be in and around the podium. And also Ferrari have brought, I think, 8 upgrades to this race. In fact, almost all the teams have brought upgrades except Red Bull, who still have the buffer. And I guess when they bring their upgrade, we should be scared.
Okay, we'll talk about the upgrades in just a moment, but let's go back then to the man you were talking about, Lando Norris, of McLaren, having won at Miami. Is he onto something? Is he, you mentioned was his maiden win. Is he someone we should look out for, as this having been the first of many this season?
Well, you know what? He's always been a highly rated driver. I don't know if it's first of many this season, but it's definitely first of many in his F1 career, I'd imagine. So, I mean, there was a bit of fortune with the safety car in Miami, which played into his hands because he was the only driver who hadn't pitted for new tires amongst the front runners. And that always gives you an advantage, because if you pit under the safety car, the cars are only moving at a maximum of, I think, 80 kilometers an hour, 120, sorry. 120, Yes.
And, I mean, you not thinking that it's maybe the first of many does not stop the man in front, Max Verstappen, maybe fearing that there could be, because he's lost 2 races in the first 6 of the season. I think it was in Australia as well.
Yes.
He surely has something to think about now. If he thought it was going to be an easy ride, excuse the pun, going into the season, surely he has something to think about now. There's others, there's Charles Leclerc as well coming through, your Carlos Sainz. There's the top 5 looking at him with red eyes.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like Red Bull, they still have maybe another 1/10 of 2 in the pocket, which they haven't needed to use because of the buffer that they've been enjoying, especially with Max Verstappen behind the wheel. So I'm not really expecting the other teams. I mean, the 2 races that you referred to, the one in Australia, he had a problem with his car. His right rear brake disc, I think, had locked and then caused a fire. And then in the last race, like I say, he was on his way to win it until the safety car came. And obviously Lando, with the brand new hard tires, had a pace advantage in the last stint, which is why he managed to keep the lead and even actually pull away from Max Verstappen.
So he's got nothing to worry about, basically.
I'm not saying that. Look, I mean, if Oscar Piastri, he was doing really well before the safety car. He had a slight collision with Carlos Sainz Jr., which compromised his race. Otherwise, he was running 4th and actually matching Max Verstappen's lap times. But I feel as though Max maybe was managing out front, not needing to push as hard as he possibly could. So I think there's a lot of unanswered questions this weekend that we will know after the checkered flag on Sunday.
What significance is it, or does it have any impact at all that they're back at this particular track, having missed last year? I think there was a flooding issue, something like that. Is it of help to any of the drivers?
Well, you know what? I mean, San Marino, I think the last race before 2021 was in 2004 or something like that.
Yes.
it was quite a while since the F1 Roadshow had made its way to Imola in Italy.
Yeah.
So, you know, these drivers are world class. I don't think they're going to have a problem acclimatizing because they didn't go last year. Yes, there was the unfortunate flooding that happened on the weekend of the Grand Prix. So has been 2 years since we were last there, but I don't see that being a major issue for these drivers who've been there, as I say, 3 or 4 times in their careers, at least, the ones who were driving from 2020, 2021. So.
You mentioned the upgrades, so to speak, from some of the drivers, except for Red Bull, a lot from Ferrari as well. Explain those and how they play a role in or on race day.
Well, what will happen is each team is given what is called tokens. So you get 3 tokens per season, which means that from the base of the car that you develop for the first race, you are allowed to upgrade it using those tokens, certain parts of the car, like your side pods, your rear wing, the floor of the car, whatever way you feel you need to make improvements based on the performance of races past by the time the season starts. So each team has a prerogative to use their 3 tokens at any time of their choosing. And most teams have chosen to bring their upgrades to this venue.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that they're now going to Europe, and it's I mean, got to do with the weather as well and how they want the car to perform in particular weather conditions or a particular type of climate.
Well, I mean, if you look at the first couple of races, they've also been in different continents. You know, I mean, the last race, Miami, was in North America. The one before that was China. Before that was Japan. Before that, I think, was Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. So when you look at it that way, the weather is constantly changing. And I don't think it's a determining factor of when you do your upgrades. It's more about where you are in the pecking order at that point in the season. And obviously with the wind tunnel testing that they do in between races, maybe this is where they found that they need to improve their car in order to extract more performance.
So the schedule was that round 1 was actually at Bahrain, which was won by Verstappen. Again, he won in Saudi Arabia. He, as we mentioned before, missed Australia in terms of the podium. He missed that with Carlos Sainz winning there. And then he came back in Japan and in China, and then came in second in Miami last week. And for me, I asked you earlier on if he's got nothing to worry about. Looking at the points difference at the moment, he's at number 1 on 136 points. This is after 6 rounds of the season.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. But then you've got Sergio Perez at 103.
Okay.
He is within touching distance. Do you still say he's got nothing to be worried about? And the rest of the, let's say, top 5, Charles Leclerc, 98. You've got Lando Norris, 83, with his maiden win in Miami last week. And Carlos Sainz on 83. You maintain that he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine, especially when you talk about Sergio. Sergio, with all due respect, in terms of performing on track, he's no match for Max. Even if he were to claw that gap with, I mean, this is round 7, so we still have another 18 races after this one, I think. 17, sorry. So he would still have time to recover. And based on what we've seen in the time that they've been teammates from 2021, Sergio has not been able to match Max at all.
All right, Lufefe, let's leave it there. There's an important aspect of this weekend's race as well, with F1 honoring 2 gentlemen, Roland Ratzenberger as well as Ayrton Senna, who tragically passed away 30 years ago in Italy. That race weekend, practice and main race day, respectively.